Hunky Tony. He goes out and shoots a Sunday 66. That is 5 under and plenty good enough to become your 2023 Mexico Open champion. Tony Finau, rounds of 65, 64, 65, 66. Greg, we talked about it last night. I'm happy to announce he objectively played the best golf all week, right? I mean, he was phenomenal from tee to green. He rolled the rock. He did not have one insane round with a lot of win luck or any. It just Tony Finau was the best player this week. It wasn't particularly close, though some guys made it interesting. And Tony Finau gets another victory.
Yeah, I think he did a couple things really well. He drove it better than he's been driving it this year, which I think really separated himself. And that allows him to lead the field in tee to green, right? And then you think about what happens on the greens, and this is also where it's been a little hit or miss for him this year. And this week, it wasn't really hit or miss. He had an off day on Saturday, but he still shoots 6 under yesterday. So again, you look at this golf course, and we joked yesterday, this is a par 66. He goes out and shoots even par today. And I think he did a really good job of adding what I called all week the bonus birdies, right? You get a birdie at number 1, a birdie at number 5. All of a sudden you get through 5 holes under par, and you got 6 and 7 coming up, and you're in great shape. You're in phenomenal shape with the 3 par 5s remaining on the second side. You still got all 4 ahead of you, and he's at 2 under already, and he's leading by this point. So it removes a lot of the pressure. But what I thought was really cool about today's round, and probably the most notable takeaway for me, was when things got a little difficult. So he gets to number 6, hits his second shot into the greenside bunker. It gets an awkward lie and leaves it in the bunker. And that's kind of where things could get really nervy. He doesn't get that up, and he makes 6 on a par 5. That becomes a big problem. And he gets it up and down. So he makes 5, feels like a bogey, but makes 5, takes care of 7. And then on 8, he's in real trouble again. And now, Brandon Wu is in the picture. John Rahm is much more in the hunt, and this thing, he starts to open this up to the field if he doesn't convert both of those up and downs, and he holds it from off the green. And then from there, he's back in. I can just cruise. I can rely on my ball striking, which today probably more than any other day he had to lean on a short game, and was able to 6 for 6 in scrambling. So best tee to green player all week long. But I think today the key to actually sealing up the victory was a short game.
Yeah, and I think, Mark, that's a really good point that Greg makes. There were moments where the door was creaking open a bit. Maybe it was John Rahm, maybe it was Brandon Wu, but throughout, Tony looked stoic. He looked in control. He took the bad breaks or the spots of bother in stride and took his medicine when he needed to. And it seemed as, I know this is not stress-free, but he made it kind of feel a little stress-free today just by watching him out there, watching his play, watching his demeanor. I thought he did a very just all-around solid job.
Yeah, Tony, the tournament winner, showed up. The guy who we all criticized, or not necessarily me, but some of us criticized when he wouldn't close events out, because what he's learned to do ever since that little run he went on midway through last year was make putts, make saves that mattered. Because we know he's got the length to make his share of birdies, but when you're coming down the stretch, you hit a poor shot, gets gusted by the wind or whatever, you miss a green, then you have to make one of those 4, 5, 6 foot putts to not just keep the lead score-wise, but to maintain your own momentum. Because if you miss one putt coming down the stretch, ordinarily you'll get bowled over by a handful of guys. And he made a number of putts yesterday from that 5-foot range. He made a couple beauties today that slammed the door basically on the competition. And I want to point to that up and down out of the greenside bunker, which was not easy on 16. Third to last hole, it's not nip and tuck. But if he makes a mistake there, then you never know with a par 5 on 18. Makes the beautiful save there. He made another save back on the other par 3. So it's what he's learned to do. He's figured out to play around the greens. He's always been a tremendous ball striker. That's no one can argue that. But now, just like Tiger, just like the guys that win, Jordan Spieth and company, they make those putts when they need to. And so as a result, you're able to keep the score intact and hold the momentum.
That momentum leads Tony Finau to his 6th career PGA Tour victory. But Patrick, maybe more importantly, his 4th win in his last 19 starts. I don't particularly care what they are. Technically, they are the 3M Open, the Rocket Mortgage, Houston, and here in Mexico. 4 in 19 is stellar stuff.
Yeah, following the 5-year drought, 142 starts. He has 5 in his last 41. So 1 in about every 8 since the summer of 2021, which is pretty damn good. And it's really just, look, some of these guys just mature at different ages. We saw it with Phil Mickelson, right? When he won major championships, he wasn't until 33 when he won his first. I believe Finau's around that age right now. So this day and age, with more and more young talent coming out, like a Batia, and Jordan Spieth winning so many major championships when he was young, Justin Thomas when he was young, Colin Morikawa, it is easy to criticize someone who's not getting the job done right away. It is. We're a take industry.
Did you say 5? Did you say 5 in 41?
Yeah.
It's like 12%.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's really good. Yeah.
1 in every 8. Yeah.
Wow.
After not being able to close. But
Yikes.
Today was really just a masterclass of how to play with a lead. When you just put so much pressure on your opponents from tee to green, they can't make a mistake. And if they do, you pick up those bonus birdies, like Greg said. And, the 1 on 8 was just huge. That par save where he didn't really hit a great bunker shot, 18 feet from off the green. He knocks it in right when Brandon Wu was kind of getting going. John Rahm was right there as well, but it was extremely impressive. And then you look at yesterday as well, 65. I don't think he made a putt outside 5 feet at all, which just goes to show you how good he was from tee to green. So in this maturation process, even though it is a bit later than his peers, the next step is obviously major championships. And with one on, the horizon here at Oak Hill, a long golf course where, his strength and his tee to green acumen will be able to rise. And he does have the experience. He has a top 5 in each of the major championships already. He's been in the final group before. You think about Shinnecock Hills when, him and Daniel Berger kind of blitzed the field there on Saturday, and we're in that final group. It does seem like that. He's the 4th multiple-time winner this year, but he doesn't really get in that kind of crew with Rahm, Scheffler, Max Homa as well, who's won the, big events like the Genesis Invitational and the Wells Fargo as well. So I'm with you, Rick. I don't care what events they are. Winning's pretty damn tough on the PGA Tour. And I think Finau's proven on the big stages that he can kind of compete and stick with these guys, with the majors on the horizon.
As my ode to Kyle Porter, I'm going to do it because I feel after your observation there that Kyle would do this. All right, Max Homa or Tony Finau, who's a better player and who has the bigger career? Because that's how Kyle rolls. So what's your answer to that question?
I'll take Max.
It's a good question. I'll take Tony.
Okay,
I'll take Tony too. I'm with you, Greg.
Patrick.
I think. Well, go ahead, Patrick.
I think I would go with Max.
Split decision.
See, I think Max has a bigger step to make in the big events, in the majors, where Tony, as Patrick just mentioned, he's shown that he can be a factor in them. Has he shown he can win them yet? No, but I think he has shown more ability in big events, more contention in big events. And by big, I'm talking about majors, right? Because Max Homa has played great in big events, just not majors. So when we get to that level, I think Tony's shown the ability, and the next step is just crossing that finish line and getting a win. And I really think he can.
And he's got a weapon with his power. no one is acknowledged those 2 freaking rocket 3-irons he hit into the 10th green, which was playing just 500 yards on the card, playing like 540 into that wind, and he smashed 3-iron down there and hit a 3-iron in the heart of the green. There are less than that many guys in the world's game that can do that sort of thing, and he's one of them. And when you get to the big events, that's what you got to sometimes do. He's super accurate off the tee. He drives it on a string. He's got that new ball that he tees the thing way down with a driver and hits his flat fade. He's got a beautiful trajectory on the irons, a little draw that he hits, and he's figured out what he does around the greens. And I must say this, I don't know what the numbers say, but whenever I've called him, the guy is dynamite from the greenside bunkers. And the one thing I learned from Gary Player was on Sundays at majors, they tuck holes behind bunkers. So if you're going to play offense, you've got to be able to make saves from the sand. And Tony out of the sand is stout. So I'm kind of leaning towards Tony Finau now.
I will say, Tony does not get enough credit for. I mean, he was never just like a one skill guy. He always had the distance. He was always, but he has really become a solid all around player. The short game's phenomenal. He can roll the rock. I will say this, and Patrick, this is my argument for Max Homa is that honestly the most likely outcome is that neither of these two guys ever win a major. That's the most likely outcome.
Wow, that's so sad.
But it's true.
I know.
And I would say that about a lot of guys, right? It's not just these two that fall.
There's only 4 of them a year.
Yeah, only
4 a year, and there's a lot of good guys. So the most likely outcome is neither of these guys ever win a major championship. They both have 6 wins right now, which is why this is such a great comp, Mark. Hat tip to you. Patrick, right now, Max Homa's resume smashes Tony Finau's resume.
In the win department.
What else do we care about?
Well, Wikipedia top 10s and majors and whatnot.
I thought this show cares about strokes gained. I'm hearing strokes gained
and podiums. I'm generating some convo here.
I like since I am in the Max camp as well. I like his ability to rise to the occasion a little bit more. Finau's wins have kind of been, he's out in front. Houston, he was out in front. Rocket Mortgage was a record-setting performance. This week he was out in front as well. Max, when he's in it, he has proven to be able to hold putts when it matters. You think about the iron shot, the 4-iron on 16 at Torrey Pines, that par 3, making that 15-footer after Colin Morikawa poured one on top of him. Huge. So I think that's why I give the nod to Max, because he's proven it a bit more, I think, down the stretch with the putter.
I'm not gonna punish Tony Finau, Greg, for boat racing the field and winning from too far out in front. I'm not gonna punish him for that.
It's the Scotty Scheffler argument. When's the last time he made a clutch putt?
Yeah,
he makes them Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is when he makes them. I will say this though, Greg, in our sample size of 1, these two have battled in the playoff, and Max Homa won it.
See, that was part of the learning curve for Tony Finau. Okay, that was a big part of it, because he would, and I was hard on Tony then. He had plenty of opportunities to win that golf tournament and let the moment slide, and he's figured out how to not let the moment slide. And this is the thing about when you start boat racing a field, right? Like we joke, when's the last time he made a clutch putt? But it just cracks me up.
Thursday and Friday.
But it's
something to think about,
When Xander Schauffele wins chasing, the question is, well, when's he going to win with the lead? That's like the next step. And so I love his ability to play with a lead. I do think that's a really difficult skill, something he has figured out, something Max Homa helped him with back at the Genesis there. And also, Tony Finau has 10 times more top 10s in majors. And I'm a big yellow square guy on the Wikipedia page. And Tony is boat racing Max in that category right now.
I do want to say one more thing too, because winning these big events is certainly, you need physical skill, but you need mental and emotional acumen as well. And Tony Finau mentioned to me, like when he decided to bring his family on the road last year, he didn't play very well initially and got criticized heavily And I'm certain also by guys on this show criticized him for making the decision. But he just stuck to his guns. Now he's out there, he's got the family, and he's got life really in perspective. And the guy played this par 3 course just out of my hotel here. There's 10 holes here every night. So it speaks to how he's golf Tony on the golf course. His dad, Fun Tony, over here, and apparently loves golf too. Because I got to tell you, after I've played 18 holes, PGA Tour tournament pressure, then to go and play 10 holes on a par 3 course, I'd be like, not on your life. But this guy must love it, and he loves being around his family. So he's got that emotional ease about him because he's got that side of life taken care of.
He is golf Tony. He is dad Tony. He is very hunky Tony, and he is your 2023 Mexico Open champion.